Hey, what's going on, folks? AMS Storm is here. Ben McKenna is here as well. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Virtual Auto Sports here live on Twitch TV. And yes, it's a very, very sad day, as it always is. It's the week 5, which means it's the finale of the Forza Motorsport Spec Racing Series Season 30. However, that doesn't mean that's the end of the series altogether. It just means Season 30 has come to a head. And what a great race we have in store for us tonight. 56 laps around the Yas Marina North Circuit underneath the lights. It's going to be great hopping into those 2005 Dodge SRT4 ACR Neons, which have been upgraded to 263 horsepower, 286 foot-pounds of torque, bringing it up to B600 class. I'm Dustin Moore. Great to have you all here. I hope you're having a great start to the first full week of November. Perhaps you're on a sugar crash after Thanksgiving last Thursday. Hopefully you all had a safe one. The fact that you're here may indicate that you're safe, but I hope you did enjoy that little festivity rolling into now what would be the hallmark / bookend holidays of 2019. AMS Storm says, don't mean to crash the party or anything, but Halo emoji. Welcome to the party. Great to have you here. We've had some AMS folks join us not only in the chat there, which you are, but also out on the racetrack. One that comes to mind is GG Racing, back when he was on the AMS team, the Alien Motorsports team, and you guys are wrapping up FRC here in a couple of weeks. So great to see some folks joining the lobby who are from both the community side of things here in the Forza world, but then also from the what you would consider the pro esports side of the house as well. Folks, give me a second here. I am actually a little bit behind. I got out of the job a little bit late this evening, so I'm quickly jumping in to things as fast as I can. I did have enough time to put together the standings as you see them there, and as the bottom bar indicates, Mesosphere has already won out the Season 30 championship there with 300 points coming in to the finale, but then can also pick up another 100 points here tonight with a win and sweep the entire season. That's right, win 9 straight races. That has not yet been done. Not yet been done. Mesosphere saying so pro. Pro is stretching it for sure. Just here to stop a Mesa Queen sweep. Oh, word has got out that Mesa is trying to make everybody look bad, and so somebody's going to step in and put a stop to this. One interesting thing, obviously, there on the standings, and I don't know why my frames are going wacko here. What's going on? Hold on. Wait 1 second here. I'm trying to figure out. Are you guys seeing it on your end, or are we stuttering on your guys' end, or is it just on my side that I'm seeing like little blips in the frames? Is it evident over there? Either way, one thing to notice here on the standings is that Crimson has dropped down to the number 5 spot as a result of some misfortune there in week number 4, where he got a disconnect out there at the test track airfield, and because he's already had 2 weeks where that was an issue or it didn't participate, he now finds himself out of contention really for a top 3 finish. I mean, I suppose it's still possible if Craytrim, Foontang, and Slipstream really goof things up here tonight or don't even show up, but Crimson's got his work cut out for him if those folks are indeed on the track. And Crimson and Craytrim, as we've seen all throughout the season, have been very closely competitive. And then Slipstream has made his way up through after having not participated there on week number 1. Crimson says, also just here to prevent a sweep. So Crimson, he's like, yeah, you know what? I already acknowledged that nobody's in the running for the championship. The championship is already now firmly in Mesosphere's grasp, but can somebody put a stop to the reign of terror that is Mesa out there on the track? We're going to have to see tonight. And, gosh, are you guys It's hard to tell with a stationary screen. It's not exactly stationary. There's a little bit of animation in the back, but I get what you're saying. It's hard to tell with that particular screen. So let me flip it on over here to the lobby. Taking a look at that lobby, it looks like we've got 11 drivers currently logged in there. Crimson, Cratrium, Fear the Fun, Born as Ghost, Slipstream, Audrex, Mesosphere, Slow Motion Fire, Food Tank, Modern Weapon, AMS Storm showing up out of nowhere here in week number 5. And we'll get qualifying going here at the top of the hour. Oh my gosh, this is going to annoy me if this keeps up. It looks like I'm getting just very momentary, very sporadic frame drops, and I don't know why. I'm not entirely sure why. We'll see. I hope everything goes okay. You guys tell me what it looks like on your end, and maybe in between qualifying and the race, we will. I will attempt something. I don't know what, but I'll attempt something. I only have one computer, so I can't just restart one computer hoping that maybe that fixes anything, because that won't do us any good. All right, here we go. Qualifying out at the Yas Marina North Circuit. 3 laps of qualifying. 1 is a standing start. The other 2 are flying laps. And after it is all said and done, we'll go back and see who has the quickest time. Slow Motion Fire, they're telling us in the pit lane that we are underway. Sure enough, we are, with Crimson going to be the first one off the grid here out of Abu Dhabi. Just the North Circuit here, so you'll notice as they come down the long straightaway, instead of going on the south part of the circuit away from the start-finish line, they'll cut through the infield and head back in there. 56 lappers. We'll have to see if pit stops are going to be necessary, if any sort of strategy is going to be a factor there. And of course, with simulation damage turned on here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, it's always a possibility that if you go into the wall or collide with another car, that you might find yourself making a stop, and that'll put you back a good 40-50 seconds here at Yas Marina. A very interesting pit lane with it going underneath the initial straightaway there off the start-finish line, and then coming back out after turn number 1. Watching Crimson come around, we'll go ahead and throw some statistics there in the lower left-hand corner. As soon as he trips the timer, we'll see what his at least standing start time is. It's a 1:23.4. Looking a little bit further back, let's go to Mesosphere. Just now coming out of that final left-hander from the long straightaway. Then you hook a right, and then you'll see the start-finish line there, midway. Go past the grandstands. Slow Motion Fire giving the drivers a little bit of heads up before this race, saying, hey, just some expectations with regards to lap traffic. Obviously, a big part of the Forza Spec Racing Series is sportsman-like participation. If you are slow, or if you're fast, or if you're somewhere in between, that doesn't matter. As long as you race clean, that's what counts. And so Slow Motion Fire just giving a friendly little reminder to the entire crew that if you find yourself a lap down with on-lap traffic or lead lap cars approaching, then yield the right of way to an extent. You still have a right to be on the driving line or in and around the driving line, but of course, when you've got traffic approaching you that is noticeably quicker, much quicker, especially when you head into a turn, maybe you take the high line and the quicker driver takes the inside line along the apex and maintains their driving line. So just some of the things that to think about when you're in one of these longer semi-endurance races. This will take us maybe an hour, hour and a half-ish. But if you want to participate with the Forza Spec Racing Series, just like it has right there down below in that lower third, reddit.com/r/FM4 will get you to the place so as to get all the rules and information, all the stipulations, the prerequisites, which, again, do not include skill level. You don't have to have any particular skill to race here in FM4. But once season 31, once the vehicle for that season has been announced, then it's wise of you to put that car together, go through the paces of getting out to the different tracks, do some testing, a little bit of tuning, get ready for the race. And after qualifying here, we'll chat with some of our drivers and see what they may have been up to in the last week, getting ready for this one here tonight. And perhaps maybe my frames have stabilized a little bit. You guys let me know. I don't see anybody really complaining there in the pit lane or the Twitch chat as it's otherwise known, so I suspect that everything for the most part is okay. Knock on wood. Watching the magenta car of Funtang coming down that long straightaway. And again, 263 horsepower, 286 foot-pounds of torque. These Dodge Neons, they still weigh 2,600 pounds. That despite the fact that they've got a race weight reduction installed. That includes race exhaust, street engine block and displacement, race actually sport pistons and compression, race brakes, race springs and dampers. Both the front and the rear sway bars are of the race variety, race chassis reinforcement and roll cage, race weight reduction, race clutch, race differential, sport tire compounds. Those are 255/30s wrapped around 18-inch work design DH rims or wheels. And then you've got VIS Racing Sports front bumper, rear bumper, side skirts, and a Wings West wing on the back. No aspiration change, no driveline configuration change, no engine change whatsoever. That original 2.4-liter inline 4 turbocharged. All right, Mesosphere saying GG AMS Storm, and I think I saw on there, at least my last check before the screen backed out, that Mesosphere was at the top, and it's going to be Storm who sneaks in with a 118.123. And that should put Storm there on pole position. Opposite of him will be Mesosphere, it appears, at a 118.166. Looking a little bit higher up. Crimson at a 118.8. 119.8 for Born as Ghost. Fear the Fun with a 121.9. Cratrium with a 118.7. Modern Weapon unable to secure a clean lap. 123. That'll put him back there either behind or beside Odd Drex, who also had a dirty lap of 119.3. Mesosphere again with that 118.166. Slipstream 119.8. Celtic Warrior at a 121.9. Slow at a 119.6. Funtang with a 118.9. So there you go. And of course, the organizers will go ahead and get that grid all sorted. Let's go ahead and turn on over to the driver's spotlight section. And oh, nobody's there. All right, we've got a lot of shy folks here tonight. Nobody in the driver's spotlight. And of course, we'll talk to some of our drivers here at the conclusion of tonight's race. But really, the question is, can anybody stop Mesosphere from taking 9 straight wins here in season 30? 9 straight. So not even if we drop out the lowest race or just drop a race or a week, because that's what we do here in FM4, that would still give Mesosphere 7 wins, but now going for 9 straight. Mesosphere, you got your work cut out for you, at least it seems. AMS Storm joining the mix.
Yeah, streak is over. We got actual FRC competitors joining us today, so no. To be honest, as I was saying to him in chat earlier on, because he was there like saying, hey, should I join in? Should I join? Because I'm sure Mizu will get very upset if I do. And it's like, actually, no, join in. More the merrier. If he stops the sweep, he stops the sweep. That's fantastic. As long as I have a good race. As long as he doesn't just drive off into the distance, so I'm left miles behind, kind of going, well, this sucks. But if we actually get a good race for, hell, it's 56 laps, I think. If we get a good race for 45, 50 of them, I'm happy. I'm just here for a good race. I'm not putting any of my pressure on myself, so I'm just going to try and learn from the pro and see what I can do today. It's going to be fun. But I wouldn't hold your breath on that sweep.
Mesosphere talking with us here in the driver's spotlight saying, I'm not going to push myself. I'm not really pressuring myself. But AMS Storm saying Meza really wants the clean sweep is what I'm trying to say. Racerman Jones saying, go on Storm, FRC quote-unquote pro. So there you go. Some comments from the pit lane. Mesosphere, the Yas Marina North Circuit here in the dark, 56 laps. you tell us a little bit whether or not we're going to see some pit strategy come into play on this one?
It's going to be one stop, and that's solely for fuel. We don't have race tires on these things. The tire wear is actually great. No problems there whatsoever. Could have gone for the whole race, but you are going to run out of fuel at around about lap 30-ish. So you may see some variance on pit strategy. People try to undercut. People, try to just go as late as possible. Just in case you're risking damage or whatever. You got a wide open window. The only thing that's going to be a real thing is the length of time for that pit. This pit lane is humongous, and it feels like forever. So, the amount of time loss is quite insane. But everyone's got to go through it. As long as you don't get involved in an accident and get damaged, and so we'll have a second stop, then it shouldn't make too much odds on your pit strategy.
Yeah, two times the stops would not be good. Mesosphere telling us about the length of the pit lane, but then also a little bit unorthodox. You come out on the left side of the track as folks are heading up the hill, a slight grade incline here at Yas Marina. So I know I saw Slow Motion Fire just giving folks a little bit reminder on what to do with lap traffic, but I think maybe minding your P's and Q's coming out of pit exit is obviously going to be important so as not to get around the track with a damaged car and go back in.
Well, very fortunately, that pit exit might be on the left-hand side, but it's on a right-hand bend, so you're coming in on well away from the racing line.
Yep.
So there's plenty of room to filter and see who's around you as you're coming out. It's not as bad as it sounds, thanks to that tunnel. You're not just coming in. I mean, part of me is there going, it would have been nice just to come in like you would at, say, Sebring on the outside of turn one. Mm-hmm. But having said that, this works quite well because he's still coming in towards the outside of the corner. And you're nowhere near the racing line, so it should be quite a safe rejoin. As long as nobody just tries to cut across or do anything weird or funky. So, it should be a good race. Fingers crossed, as long as our Storm doesn't just disappear off into the distance.
The storm rolling out onto the horizon. That is not what Mesosphere wants to see here out at Yas Marina. Congrats on the number 2 spot there on qualifying, and best of luck to you on that 9-race sweep here.
All right, thank you very much. Gonna need it.
Yeah, he says he's going to need it. I don't know. I think Mesosphere being a little bit humble there in terms of his skill and his talent that he's bringing here, not only tonight, but what he's done all throughout the season. He's had some great and very stiff competition with Crimson and Kratrium on his tail for the majority of these races. And so looking to carry the checkered flag on into victory lane here when it's all said and done. And so now at this point, we're just waiting. It looks like everybody has readied up. And so once the organizers have decided that everything is all well and good, they'll head out here to the track for 56 laps. These ACRs, the American Club Racer, mentioned this a couple times throughout the season. Only a little more than 1,100 of these vehicles made. The ACRs, when they rolled off the showroom floor, came with some wider wheels and tires, a lower ride height, which included adjustable dampers and shock absorbers, a thicker stabilizer bar across the back there, and then it originally had 230 horsepower to the 263 that we have here tonight, so 33 horsepower boost. 250 foot-pounds of torque is what it had on the showroom floor compared to what we've got here of 286, and it was just shy of 3,000 pounds curb weight, 2,984. We've got it down to 2,600 at even. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for the final time here in Season 30, kick the tires and light the fires. It's going to be AMS Storm, who had pole position out there in front as they head into turn number 1, the left-hander. Now they go up that little bit of a slope there, the incline, with Mesosphere right there on the back of Storm, who got the tires a little bit spun around, throwing some tire smoke there coming up the hill. And Mesosphere, he told us all about that. You get on that throttle a bit too aggressively, and that's what you'll see. And now here they come back down that slope toward the chicane. You got an S's here before you head into a hairpin, in the main grandstand section, and then they'll fly down the long straightaway as they head back toward the start-finish line. Back behind them, it's going to be Craytrim, who's there in third position behind Mesosphere. Crimson in fourth, Slow in fifth, Slipstream in sixth positions, Futang in seventh, Fear the Fun in eighth, Born as Ghost is ninth, Modern Weapon in 10th, Odds Rex in 11th, Celtic Warrior is 12th. Overhead view here into that sharp left-hander. And then you keep it going there, and a little bit more tire smoke from the driver's side front tire. And now across the line for the conclusion of lap number 1. Single file all the way back through the field. So everybody's found their spot here out on the track. And of course, with 55 more laps to go, you want to give yourself a little bit of breathing room and a chance to get acclimated with the car. Perhaps you did a bit of testing before the race got started, but now once you've got 11 other drivers surrounding you, it's always nice to get set in and in the zone with the competition. Maybe find the driver that you're most competitive with and stick with them for a little bit. And then we'll see how this pit strategy plays itself out as we get to the halfway point of the race here in the next 50, or actually check that, 30 laps or so. What do you guys think? Is Mesosphere going to be able to come away with the win here tonight? The 9 straight winning race streak. That'll be pretty spectacular. Slow Motion Fire tells me it has not happened in the Forza Spec Racing Series. I thought that it was possible that somebody had done it in the past, but even as I go back and have Slow Motion Fire look at the record book, so to speak, we were unable to unearth anything like it. So Mesosphere trying to make a first in this series, in this league, which has been running for 30 different seasons. Got to be close to about 6 or 7 years at this point. Racerman Jones is already calling the shot, thinks that Storm has it. And already we're starting to see, we'll go ahead and hop on board here with Mesosphere. We're already seeing that Storm is able to pull out a good 2 or 3 car length once they get on the straightaways. As there he goes. A thrilling season. This has been quite fun. I'm glad that this is the season I return to here on Virtual Autosports, because it has had no shortage of excitement at all. From one race to the next, there has always been a battle to watch. And now for it to conclude with Mesosphere, who has led the pack for all 8 races now, going to have to try to take down a driver who shows up for the first time here in Season 30. It's going to be a fun one to watch. And AMS Storm, I'm not entirely sure how much time he may have on the sticks with this Dodge Neon ACR, at least in this configuration that the Forza Spec Racing Series has it in. But we'll find out here this evening if that matters at all. Back into the hairpin here for the 4th time. Plenty of lighting here as opposed to Virginia International Raceway. They're back on back in week number 3, where it was pretty much pitch dark out here at this motorsports park. No problem with visibility whatsoever. Racerman Jones saying the top 2 are starting to gap the field. They most certainly are. You look back there on the blips on the map or the radar in the lower left-hand corner, and you can see first and second now starting to create some separation there. 3rd and 4th is Craytrim and Crimson, and very appropriate that battle is forming between those two, because these guys have been at each other's throats all season. The Rich Energy car and the white sponsored Dodge ACR Neons, and it's been a blast, and I just hope for Crimson that his connection holds up so that we can see him play this one all the way to the end. Going to look to the outside through the first half of that S's, then to the inside, back onto the back bumper, some sparks, a little bit of smoke. Now he's going to do the old switcheroo, switch it back, and Cratrium able to take enough momentum out of the hairpin to maintain P3. Slow Motion Fire is still there in 5th. Fear the Fun in 6th. Futang falling back to 7th, I believe. Audrex in 8th. Slipstream in 9th. Modern Weapon rounding out the top 10. Here they come up to the sharp left-hander. And Crimson already pretty daring. Going to look to the inside to see if he has an opportunity to get by. Not going to happen there. Yeah, Storm is starting to... The storm is starting to brew for Meza, as Meza telling us there in the driver's spotlight, the last thing that he wants to have happen is for Storm to just roll away with this win. He wants to be competitive. If he's going to lose and forego the sweep, he wants to at least do it in a competitive fashion. He doesn't want Storm to just be able to moonwalk across the start-finish line for the win. So we'll see. Maybe it's Mesosphere just pulling back a little bit, maybe not wanting to make any mistakes early on. Keep an eye on Storm, but not be too close. At the back of the pack now, Celtic Warrior has fallen back to 12th position. Born as Ghost up to 11th. So Crimson making the move there on Cratrium, and this may not be the first time that we see this exchange. And I would be curious if these two are going to go in on the same pit stop, just to keep those cars oh so close to each other. AMS Storm, this is a good pace. He's typing and racing. Incredible. Just showing off at this point. Let's go back up there to Mesosphere. Let's see how he's handling things right now. He's got Storm up there. I love this track. Yas Marina, the only thing here in Forza Motorsport 7 that hopefully gets ironed out with the next iteration of the Forza Motorsport franchise is a way to curb the course cutting. Now, of course, Forza race regulations have been implemented. They're not in force here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, but just get those track limits established very well, and I would say set them in a way that is indicative of how things work in the real world, permitting the drivers maybe to get 4 wheels off. You see it there with Mesosphere, 4 wheels outside the white line, which in game here, that's triggering a dirty lap. But certainly in the real world, they're probably a little bit more lenient with that. And so maybe seeing those track limits, not only here at Yas Marina and Forza Motorsport, but at all the circuits, putting those expectations of the driving line in line with what you might see being run in the real world. AMS Storm now with a good 1.5 to 2 second lead here on Mesosphere. Let's return to our battle for 3rd and 4th. Crimson and Cratrium. Those two exchanged positions, and actually we won't even put the camera on them. Let's go back a little further. Let's go to Slow Motion Fire, who's now dropped from 5th to 8th. Vanquish saying Yas Marina is the greatest of all time. I love Yas Marina. I think it's a great track, and it's a beautiful, beautiful environment. I love the surroundings. Turn 10 did a great job here with the environment. It looks brilliant, especially here in the nighttime setting. And so I know some folks in the community have some disdain toward this track, and I think it's really because some of the corner cutting, because Forza race regulations aren't implemented across all multiplayer lobbies. That's probably why people still dislike it, because a driver can clearly cut right through one of the, not just one, but several of the S's that they have here at Yas Marina and pick up some substantial time. But once you put FRR in place across multiplayer, I think that would help remedy that. As we see now, Slipstream and Modern Weapon back there. Born as Ghost. Slipstream is left Twix. Born as Ghost is right Twix. And maybe we'll see those two get together, left and right. That would be great. That would probably be a first here in Season 30. Back behind them, now Slipstream in 9th position. Modern Weapon in 10th. Nice little grouping here, 8th through 11th. And unfortunately, Celtic Warrior is losing sight of the field. But again, if you're interested in getting yourself into league racing, regardless of how good or how bad you think you are, FM4, the Forza Spec Racing Series, is a great place to start. Hone your skill. Perhaps you need to use some assist. That's fine. Pull some away over time. See your times getting better. Find a driver that you match up well against and try to beat them race after race, and before you know it, you might find yourself moving up the field. Reddit.com/r/FM4. You can click the link here that Nightbot is going to be dropping. Oh no, and we've got a black screen, which usually indicates we are losing somebody. Come back to us. And it looks like we have lost the race altogether. We'll rejoin here in just a second. Give me a moment. Not the first time, and most certainly probably not the last that we'll have had this happen. And now we're back in there, getting loaded up. There we go, jumping back with slow motion fired. Unfortunately, as you see there through the field, we lose some of the liveries here on the cars. Let's move back up to the front with Mesosphere, who's contesting Storm, and unfortunately we lost AMS Storm's AMS livery on his car. But there's Mesosphere trying to keep pace. He's doing a good job. AMS Storm has gotten out in front after qualifying on the pole position. Mesosphere qualifying outside of him in second. And I think as long as Mesosphere can keep pace at this rate, he'll be happy. And then at that point, or in the next 40-some laps, it'll all be coming down to strategy, pit strategy, what lap traffic might have in store for these drivers, and then, of course, who will lose focus or who will maintain focus and be able to hold on to it all the way to the end. Crimson's still there in third, Cratrim in fourth, Audrex in fifth as they start to approach now some of the lap traffic cars. That's going to be Funtang, unfortunately. Fear the Fun and Funtang have already gone into pit lane, and maybe, I say unfortunately, but maybe their strategy is to go in now and then be good for the rest of the race. So that very well could have been intentional. What do you guys think? Would you go ahead and knowing what your lap limit here is, how many laps you can pull on a full tank of fuel, would you go ahead and duck in early on, hoping that you don't find yourself in an incident and maybe make up some time that way? It's a credible strategy. Whether or not it pays off, we'll find out. Let's go back to slow motion. Well, we're actually with slow motion fire. Never mind. We don't have to go back anywhere as they go through the hairpin here on lap number 12. And opposite on this long straightaway is Meza and AMS Storm. Coming up to the left-hander. Yas Marina was the home of the A Silent Night race that we did back in December with Formula E cars, and who knows, maybe we'll do that again this December. I can't recall how many laps we did. I think it was right around 100 miles worth of racing on the full circuit, and yes, in Formula E cars. So I don't know, maybe we'll do that again this year. What do you guys, would you guys want to participate if we have a Formula E A Silent Night race? Vanquish saying, I'm up front. I would be last to pit. If I'm struggling to pass, I'd pit. If you're up front, you would be last to pit. If you're struggling to pass, you pit now. That's, I think that's a great point. If you're up front, you let everybody else pit. You establish a substantial difference between you and the closest competitors, whoever that may be, if it's Crimson and Cratrim in third and fourth. And then hopefully with that strategy, what you've done is you set yourself up where maybe you don't have to encounter lap traffic as often. And then if you're at the back of the pack and you're struggling to pass, maybe you pit to give yourself a clean space and see if your hot lapping abilities work out to your advantage, and you're able to get around somebody that way. It's a good point. Mesosphere telling us because they are not on race tires, they are on sport tire compound, that the tire degradation is not a factor here tonight. It is purely on the fuel tank, and then of course if you damage your car, then that would necessitate a stop. Vanquish, by the way, thank you very much for that follow. Vanquish97 following up the follow by Pickles 1997, and then Giblet saying, goal! Nice to be witnessing some Tuesday night racing. Always a treat toward the middle of the week. That indeed, getting toward the middle of the week, November 6th, around the corner. For those of you across the pond, you're probably already there. Yeah, this is a good way. That's what I love about a Tuesday night race, is that it's a good way to get through that first half of the week. Monday's cool. I can deal with Mondays. Tuesdays, I don't care for at all. Wednesday's great because then you know you're rolling into the second half of the week. Thursday's awesome because then it's, you know, the next day is it. And then Friday, you put the cap on it. Mesosphere keeping a good pace here. I don't know if AMS Storm is dangling the carrot, or if Mesosphere has really got himself dialed in, or got the car dialed in, and he's locked in on his pace here. Probably hoping he was a little bit closer there, make the most of that slipstream into the left-hander here on lap number 15. If you're just joining us, this is the finale, week number 5 of the Forza Spec Racing Series Season 30. All the drivers in a 2005 Dodge SRT4 ACR Neon. Everybody has the same vehicle configuration, taking them up to B600 Performance Index here in Forza Motorsport 7 on the Xbox and on the PC. You can do your own customized tuning, so you can adjust the vehicle to your liking. You can set some assist the way that you prefer, and then get out here for 9 races, 5 weeks worth on Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time and 7 p.m. Central. Season 31 information should be posted soon over at reddit.com/r/FM4. Perhaps we'll chat with Slow Motion Fire here at the end of this one tonight, and he can give us some insight into what that looks like. And then our champion here in Season 30, Mesosphere, will get to pick the vehicle that is raced in Season 31. So that's one of the advantages or benefits that you get for winning a season. AMS Storm, Kent Gap, just staying consistent. Ghibli Giblets, real world question about tires. What are your thoughts on Goodyear tires? I heard they're great quality as far as durability, but may not have long mileage life. Great question. I couldn't honestly speak to Goodyear's. I don't know that I've ever had any Goodyear tires. I run some BF Goodrich, and then on the old grocery getter, it's just some General. I think they're called General General tires. Maybe some folks there in the pit lane can attest to the quality, the durability, the longevity of Michelin, Michelin and Goodyear and any others. Of course, really, I think the answer that most folks would tell you is it really comes down to driving style too. The compound, how much attention you're giving them in terms of tire pressures throughout the year, the changing conditions, what conditions you're driving in, what driving surface you have. I think there are probably some great tire sites that have some pretty credible test results that you can take a look at. I'm trying to think of, I don't know if Tire Rack provides any good reviews. I think there are some tires that certainly are pretty much top tier, that regardless if you go with one or the other from one manufacturer to the next, they're going to be good tires no matter what. And those are the ones that are going to carry the pretty hefty price tags, but you can kind of know what you're getting there. Longevity and durability wise. Crimson Cratrium still there in third and fourth. Those two haven't changed positions in the last 10 laps or so. Fear the Fun is in fifth. Wu-Tang in sixth position. Audrex in seventh. Slow Motion Fire in eighth. Modern Weapon in ninth. Born as Ghost is up to 10th. Slipstream in 11th. And Celtic Warrior in 12th. And there goes Mesosphere. A lapse of concentration and then runs wide out of the hairpin. Able to regain the car's composure and bring it back out onto the straightaway for the beginning of lap number 19. Just that momentary either lapse of judgment or a little bit late on the braking there, heading into that left-hander, which I guess would be the same as a lapse of judgment, but doing a pretty good job to recover it there. Not a terrible error. Enough of those, however, and that'll pull you back off the leader pretty quickly. Let's go to Born as Ghost. They're in 10th position. He's got Slipstream back behind him. Slipstream currently 4th overall on the leaderboard, but not doing so hot here tonight. There goes Modern Weapon running a little bit wide there on the runoff area, the blue painted surface here at Yas Marina's turn number 1. He's coming out of it. Then you go up the hill a bit here and back down. Love the sky, painted sky, a beautiful evening here at the racetrack. Here comes Born as Ghost looking to the outside, and unfortunately we don't see Born as Ghost's Twix livery anymore after he fell out of the lobby. And let's see, Born as Ghost catching up with Modern Weapon here. He's going to make a run for it. It looks like he is. They go side by side. Nearly. I don't know. Well, he's another a car or two lengths behind. And now, as they go in, it looks like Born as Ghost late to brake. But I say late to brake. Maybe it was Modern Weapon who was early to brake. And as a result, Born as Ghost closed that gap even that much more. Off into the runoff area, back toward the start-finish line, swooshing it back over to the right-hand side, getting ready for the entry into turn number 1, and there goes Modern Weapon now. Hard on the brakes, a little bit of tire smoke. Thieselmania. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Thieselmania, thank you very much for that follow. How much focus do you need for this amount of laps? I would say a generous amount. Now, I would consider myself maybe an intermediate driver. I am by no means an esports pro. I am furthest from that. But when you got cars like these that aren't at the top of the performance index spectrum, and so they require a little bit of getting back up to speed if you make an error. That means every little tiny mistake, as we saw there on the last lap, back on lap 19, every little mistake counts, and so concentration is utmost priority. Keeping a good pace is especially important, but man, it's a little bit different. You're not in a race car, so you don't kind of. I feel like in a race car, you've got kind of the motion, the G-forces, and all that keeping you a little bit more spry and into the race. Here in the virtual world, you don't have that. You've got a controller in hand, or you've got a racing wheel to grip onto, but you don't feel the car moving with you unless you've got a very sophisticated rig, and therefore concentration is a little bit easier to lose, I suspect. And then, of course, you've got things happening maybe around you in your house, the phone rings or something like that, so you've got more opportunity for distraction. So I think when it comes to the virtual world and these more lengthier races that you're not going to see in the Forza Racing Championship, being consistent and having focus is absolutely crucial. Whereas being super quick is big time important in those shorter races, because you've got less time to make up any deficiencies you have, and of course then you're hoping maybe your competitors are having a mistake or two. Here in a 56 lapper like we've got here tonight at Yas Marina for the conclusion of the Forza Spec Racing Series Season 30, you lose focus, and quickly you'll find yourself mid or back of pack. And despite that little flub there by Mesosphere, both he and AMS Storm have created a sizable gap between they and Crimson in third, and now Crimson putting it on thick here with Cratrium a good 2 or 3 seconds behind in fourth, Fear the Fun in fifth, Fuentang in sixth, Audrex in seventh, Slow Motion Fire in eighth, Modern Weapon in ninth, Born is Ghost moving up to 10th, Slipstream in 11th, Celtic Warrior in 12th. All 12 drivers who entered still out there on the track. Best thing to do to stay focused is just to have fun with it, and time flies when you're having a good race. Yeah, that's so true, Vanquish, is that I've hosted and participated in lengthier races, not full-on like endurance events where you're out there for 20-some hours, or even just anywhere in the ballpark of 5 to 8 hours or anything like that. Nothing to that extent, but 1 to 2 hour races, it is amazing how quickly 1 to 2 hours goes when you're out there on the track. You're watching the back bumper of your closest competitor, and you're like, all right, I'm going to make up time here, I'm going to make up time here. And as you go around the track, you find where you're quickest, you find where they're quickest, and so you're like, okay, I'm going to make a pass here, and then if it doesn't happen there, then you're trying to make it the next lap, the next lap, and the next lap. And before you know it, you're running up on an hour and a half. You look at the lap counter, you're like, oh my gosh, I only got a few more laps to go. And then even more so, you look at the map, and you see where the next competitor after that is, and you notice that they have started to pull away, because when you're competing with other drivers out there on the track, the more you compete, the slower you guys make each other, because there's some blocking that's going on. There's some you're a lot more careful that you don't make a mistake. So there's just so much happening within the span of an hour, which would seem like a monumental amount of time, like when you're at work or something like that. When you're out on the racetrack, either virtually or in the real world, it's almost like a blink of an eye, because it seems like you have your eyes just pried open the entire race, and it's not till the end that you feel like you blinked and It happens that quickly. Ghibli Giblet saying, I would be distracted by the pretty skybox. It's a gorgeous sky up above. AMS Storm telling us to be an inch perfect lap. It's difficult, or each lap, he corrected himself there. Each lap, to be a perfect lap is hard. I would suspect that to be true even for the more skilled, highly skilled drivers. Let's go a little bit further back here with Born as Ghost again in 10th. What's up there, Froggy771? Good to see you. Just doing a little bit of racing here in Forza Motorsport on a Tuesday night. I hope you're having a fantastic one. Vanquish, best thing to do. I already read that one. So anybody else have any thoughts on how you keep yourself focused for one of these more endurance-styled races in the virtual world? Be curious to know your tips and tricks as we see Born as Ghost there going into the hairpin, trying to make it a 2-for-1 deal here with Modern Weapon and Slow Motion Fire out ahead of him. As we go back to instant replay a little bit earlier on, and actually that instant replay is not going to be any good. Not capturing Mesosphere's slight mistake there back on lap number 19. As he is now falling back even further there to AMS Storm, who is trying to put an end to Mesosphere's win streak here in Season 30. He's done 8 straight, going for 9, and if he were to win tonight's race and make it 9 straight, he would be the first driver to do so in Forza Spec Racing Series history. Just a quick recap, AMS Storm out there in front, Mesosphere in second, Crimson in third, Cratrim in fourth. Crimson making that pass back around lap number 10 and hasn't given up on the speed since, putting Cratrim, pardon me, a bit further back in his rearview mirror, now almost a speck. Fear the Fun in fifth, Futang in sixth, Audrex in seventh, Slow Motion Fire in eighth, Modern Weapon and Born as Ghost are 9 and 10. Slipstream, who's not having a great race at all, back there in 11th position. Celtic Warrior in 12th. And at some point, we'll start to see more of the pit strategy come into play. Across the top ticker, depending on which information it's providing, you will see which drivers have gone into pit lane. That'll be indicated by a little wrench next to their time, and it's not showing here on this view, so perhaps on the next one we'll see that. Born as Ghost losing time here to Slow Motion Fire and Modern Weapon. It's been a while since I've been in a stream, just got out of jail for street racing. All right, that necessitates the old Shadow 288 fail. You got in the clink for street racing. Well, that'll teach you, huh? Yeah, take it out to the track, man. Take it out to the track. I'm sure you know all that. It was probably caught up in the moment type thing. Glad you're out, and hopefully everybody's safe and okay. But welcome to the broadcast. Good to see you here. Born as Ghost coming out of turn number 1. Let's go back up to Modern Weapon here, who's contesting Slow Motion Fire. Going to try to make a move here coming up the hill. Now back down the hill. Going to throw on the brakes here for the left-hander, then the right-hander. They got Audrex out there in front of them in 7th position. Let's see if 7th, 8th, and 9th come a little bit closer together, and maybe Born as Ghost will get in on the mix. And there goes Modern Weapon to the inside. Out there onto the driver's door panel of Slow Motion Fire's car. That goes side by side, out of the hairpin, down the long stretch. Underneath that Yas Marina sign, what's going to happen is they come up here to the sharp left-hander. Will Modern Weapon duck to the inside, or are they going to stay single file? Actually, it looks like Modern Weapon's going to peek to the outside. Slow motion fire saying, not so fast, and oh, locking up the front tires is Modern Weapon, getting onto the back bumper. They're just ever so slightly down, now almost plowing slow motion out of the way, and slow motion fire up over the curving into the apex, and Modern Weapon able to scoop by up to 8th. Modern Weapon in 8th position. Slow motion fire to 9th. Born as Ghost, wishing he was maybe in the mix. Might have been able to take advantage of that swap in position and move up with a double pass, but it was just not meant to be. Getting 2 wheels up into the air is Modern and Slow now that they've got some separation between each other. And there goes Modern Weapon way out to the outside. Love taps between Modern Weapon and Slow Motion Fire. If it's not rubbing, or if you're not rubbing, it's not racing. They're upholding that mantra here. We've got a driver who's into pit lane. That's going to be Mesosphere. Mesosphere has gone ahead and opted for a pit stop. And now as we see here, he'll go underneath the straightaway into turn number 1 and will merge on the left-hand side. And as Mesosphere was telling us, because that's the driving line is on the far right-hand side, that it should be okay in terms of staying out of the way of others. Futang, though, was quickly approaching. And so now Mesosphere, at least tentatively, finds himself in 5th position with Futang in 6th. I didn't record the pass. My instant replay skills are failing me here tonight. All right, so let's take a look at where everybody's at now. AMS Storm continues to lead the race, has not yet pitted. Crimson in 2nd, Cratrium in 3rd, Fear the Flood in 4th, Mesosphere, they're in 5th, Futang in 6th, Audrex in 7th, Modern Weapon, Slow Motion Fire, Born as Ghost are 8, 9, and 10, and there goes Born as Ghost closing in on 9 and 8. Very much the accordion-like style here with Born as Ghost. He closes in, then he falls back, and oh, and there goes Slow Motion Fire. Maybe locking the brakes up on the curbing. And for anybody who's driven the curbing, you know that that's not any sort of flat and level surface, so that usually disrupts the handling and stability of the car, and as a result, Born as Ghost is going to try to make a run here, using his momentum up 2 and 3, now here to 4 and 5. This is our closest battle out there on the track. It looks like Mesosphere now getting away from Futang. Pulling away from Futang. Lap number 31 of 56. That last lap, that 57th lap, will be a cooldown lap, so pay no mind to that. And there goes Slow Motion Fire, running a little bit wide, coming through the series of left-handers now into the right, back toward the start-finish line for the beginning of their lap number 31. Slow Motion Fire avoiding the curbing this time around after what happened last time through. Up the hill they go. And now it appears that our lead car of AMS Storm is into pit lane. AMS Storm has gone in, as well as Slipstream, and this may have been Slipstream's second stop here tonight. Crimson now is going to, for the moment, take the number 1 spot, having not yet pitted. So P1 to Crimson. AMS Storm will emerge from pit lane in second. Fear the Fun jumps up to third as a result. Mesosphere in fourth and now closing in on third. So just as quickly as Mesosphere was back in fifth, already looking to jump into the top 3. Every season, 12 drivers basically race at Le Mans. Are you asking in terms of the format for the Forza Spec Racing Series? Ideally, we would have 23 drivers. So if you're watching and you're like, man, this looks like fun. These guys, they seem to be racing clean, and regardless of what their skill level is, they're doing a good job. They're still out there on the track, all 12 who started. If that looks great to you and you want to participate and maybe test your abilities, then get ready for Season 31. That information should be coming out very, very soon over at reddit.com/r/FM4. And that way we can see you out here on the track. You get some camera time if you're up there in the front of the pack. Every once in a while we like to jump back toward the back as time allows, but it is 4 weeks of racing with 2 races per night. And then on the 5th week, the 9th race of the season, we have one of these longer endurance-style races. So that's the format. Again, reddit.com/r/FM4. And unfortunately, there we get the black screen. And we return, and that usually means we've lost a driver. Oh, no. Oh, no. And once again, we have disconnected. That was beautiful, though. I mean, the flying cars, it really added to the authenticity of racing. Vanquish saying, good game, got to go. Good stream. Keep it up, bud. Thank you very much, Vanquish. Hope to see you again soon. And we hope to be back out on the track very soon. Rough night, eh? Back to Slow Motion Fire, who's here in 5th. Let's see where everybody stands now, because we had a lot of pit stops. Fear the Fun will be our race leader for right now. He's got Funtang hot on his heels in 2nd. Audrex is 3rd. Modern Weapon in 4th. Slow Motion Fire in 5th. Celtic Warrior in 6th. Slipstream in 7th. AMS Storm is in 8th. Mesosphere in 9th. And I actually fear that the timing is not right, so we'll have to wait for the timing to sort itself out here. So pay no mind to what I just read off. That would be incorrect. And now it seems to have sorted itself out. AMS Storm now once again our race leader, and wouldn't you know it, Mesosphere right there back behind him in 2nd as they emerge onto the back straightaway. In 3rd, Crimson. 4th is Cratrin. Fear the Fun in 5th. Born as Ghost is up to 6th. Kudos to him. Funtang appears to be emerging from pit lane. No, actually, maybe he just got slowed up there through turn number 1. Funtang in 6th. Audrex in 7th. Born as Ghost in 8th. Modern Weapon in 9th. And actually, that must have been Slow Motion Fire who was coming out of pit lane. He is now in 10th. Celtic Warrior in 11th. Slipstream, again, just a bad evening for him back there in 12th. Jaegers 2005 with the follow. Thank you, sir or ma'am. Good to have you here in Virtual Auto Sports live on Twitch TV. I'm Dustin Moore. Great to be commentating Season 30 of the Forza Spec Racing Series. Always a good time. I know, I say it every single season at the end of the season, but this was my favorite season that I've done to date. Probably have broadcasted, I don't know, 6 or 7 of these. This one was top-notch. All the way from the beginning, out there at the Nürburgring, the Green Hell, the Nordschleife. Long Beach was fantastic. Monza was great. Monza was actually probably the most exciting race that we had. And you can catch all of these on demand here at twitch.tv/virtualautosports. Just go to the videos tab, click on past broadcasts. Do that after this broadcast, though. And you can see those all back and relive those moments. They were damn exciting. Then Laguna Seca, which my favorite track in the Forza franchise, and it was a good race. Followed by VIR South, which was probably the most unexciting, the most uneventful race that we had in the series, although Fear the Fun had a brilliant week there in week number 3. Then it was out to Test Track Airfield, which was filled with its normal craziness, followed by the Daytona Sport Car Circuit, which was a good race. And then here we are, race number 9, week number 5, Yas Marina North. Looks like 12th of Celtic Warrior now coming out of pit lane. Let's go back to Born as Ghost. This battle for 10th, 9th, and 8th. And we got a couple of liveries back in that last reload, so that's good. Born as Ghost there, left Twix. Actually, he's right Twix. There you go, Jaegers, FM4. Over at reddit.com/r/FM4. Click on that link, and all the details on Season 31 should be posted pretty darn soon. Slow Motion Fire is the organizer. And we'll be back at it here on Virtual Autosports as soon as that season is underway. All the way from front to finish. Or from front to finish. That works. From start to finish. That sounds better. Find yourself in your car, your livery on the broadcast if you participate. Comes Born as Ghost on the straightaway. He was able to get around Slow Motion Fire earlier. And actually, I take that back. That was Modern Weapon that was able to get around Slow Motion Fire earlier. Born as Ghost continues the battle here, and he looks a little bit quicker coming out of that left-hander compared to Slow Motion Fire. Lap number 37 for them. If we get a full lobby in race number 30, or excuse me, in season 31, that would be awesome. I know that would make Slow Motion Fire feel great as an organizer. It would be beautiful for us as a broadcast, because can you imagine, for those of you who love to just spectate, to see 23 cars out there on the track? For those of you who would like to race it, to have 23 drivers out there on the track, find your place out there on the grid, see who you're able to take down, defeat, win. The full grid would be something very, very special. So if you are the least bit interested, head on over there to reddit.com/r/FM4 and take part in Season 31. You will not regret it, I promise you. And as soon as our champion here completes week number 5, and of course all of the drivers, not just Mazosphere as the champion, but once he does that, then Slow Motion Fire will start to post up some spy photos of that car. You guessed the car correctly, you get to pick one of the tracks that you race at in Season 31. So that gives you a little bit of a leg up on the competition if perhaps there's a track that you are especially good at. And based on the car that you guess, you can say, hey, you know, that car would race really well at Circuit de Catalunya. Let me pick that track. And that one will be added to the calendar for Season 31. So it's a fun league that doesn't take itself too seriously, but gives you the bennies of being a champion. And even if you're not a champion and you're able to make out a car in those spy shots, then to be able to pick a track, that's a pretty cool perk there as well. Born as Ghost, look at that. Switch back, trying to get around Slow Motion Fire any opportunity or any way that he can. struggle continues. Let's move back up to the front here with Mesosphere, who continues to track AMS. I almost said GG Racing, but it is most certainly AMS Storm 1919 out there, and we have recaptured Storm's livery, beautiful green and black Alien Motorsport colors. And at this point, AMS Storm is lined up to end the streak that Mesosphere is on. 8 races of P1 finish. And AMS Storm is genuinely doing this to ruin the streak, because Storm has not been in a single race this season. Word got out, apparently, that Meza is showing everybody up here in this series, and we got one driver out there who's like, well, we can try to put an end to that. That being AMS Storm. Third is still Crimson, who is running a spectacular race. Unfortunately, as I mentioned at the top of the show, a bad bit of luck with a couple of weeks, and therefore moving himself down the leaderboard. I think 6th overall entering here, week number 5. Back behind him is Cratrim, who finds himself 2nd overall on the leaderboard. Fear the Fun in 5th, who's having a spectacular run for himself. Way behind him is Funtang in 6th, Audrex in 7th. As we see now, Mesosphere having to deal with Slipstream back there in 11th position. Modern Weapon in 8th, Slow Motion Fire in 9th. Born as Ghost, fighting for all that he can to move up from 10th to 9th. And Celtic Warrior back in 12th behind Slipstream in 11th. Back across the finish line, beginning of lap number 41 for these two. Slow Motion Fire taking a shot at Modern Weapon. No can do. Are these neons? They are. They are the 2005 Dodge SRT4. Hopefully we're back live. Again, my apologies. Usually we have one little snag throughout a broadcast, and tonight we've had 3 too many. But it looks like we're okay at this point. The best cars to ever be put on a racetrack, says Mania. Some will probably argue that that's not the truth, but the beauty of it here in the Forza Spec Racing Series is that everybody's driving the same car with the same upgrades. You can make your own tune to suit the track that we're racing on, and then see really how your skill stacks up against these other drivers. And now that we're back, AMS Storm is still out there in front, Mesosphere in 2nd, Crimson in 3rd, Cratrim in 4th, Fear the Fun in 5th, Funtang in 6th. We're still back here 8th, 9th, and 10 with Modern Weapon, Slow Motion Fire, and Born as Ghost, because this 3-way battle has been something worth watching. If you're asking me which cars are the best cars to ever be put onto a racetrack, I would say GTLM cars. I love watching GT racing, and granted I don't watch as much of it as I should, but watching GT cars during the Le Mans race and during the Sebring endurance races, Laguna Seca. I just love watching GT cars get around the track. And the new Corvette, the mid-engine Corvette, that's going to be something special to watch. That'll be a beaut. Chevrolet showing a picture of what that beast looks like on Twitter. Love it. What do you guys think? What are the best cars to watch out on the circuit? Is it Formula One, NASCAR, GT cars like I like? Maybe it's just your local dirt track, your local oval circuit. Maybe some late models. What do you dig? Back up to second here momentarily with Mesosphere, who is trying to make it 9 straight, and he's doing a good job keeping pace with Storm here. I would say if it weren't for a few mistakes that Meza would be closer, although I would say Meza has recovered from those mistakes nicely, so I don't know that he would necessarily be closer. He's just put himself in a position where once he has a slight mistake, he is able to quickly get back up to where basically he was. And now as they approach the line for lap number 45, they'll give them 11 laps to go here in this race. This 56 lapper around the Yas Marina North Circuit. It's been a beaut, and the never-ending sunset here has been something special. I love this track, and they got the fireworks overhead. Ghibli Giblets was talking about the skybox, just the beautiful palette of colors up overhead. It's fantastic, and looking forward to what the future of Forza will hold as they move to a new Xbox platform, and then of course for us who are on the PC, we'll just pick up right where we left off. Pickles saying British touring cars can't beat the BTCC cars. Yeah. British Touring Car Championship cars. I really wish that and DTM. I really wish we had more of those cars back in Forza Motorsport. It seems like over the years we've had fewer and fewer of the DTM. Actually, do we even have any DTM at this point? Well, we got the... Isn't the Audi the recent release of the Audi? That's, I think, maybe a DTM car. All right, let's go back here to 8th, 9th, and 10th. Looks like Slow Motion Fire has gotten back around Modern Weapon, reclaimed 9th. Born as Ghost, they're in 10th. Or actually, Slow Motion Fire regaining 8th. Modern Weapon 9th, and Born as Ghost in 10th. They'll go side by side down the stretch. Ghibli saying, I like the inherent danger yet smooth look of the GT cars zooming around the tracks. Yeah, there's definitely inherent danger, especially since the GT cars definitely find themselves in those longer endurance races, and so the tendency or the possibility for carnage there oftentimes a little bit greater, but for the most part the GT cars I think are just like, they're so consistent and like you said, smooth. They're predictably smooth. Like the drivers behind the GT cars are just on point. At least in the limited amount of GT racing that I see. And now Modern Weapon back to 10th after going side by side there with Born as Ghost. And here comes Modern Weapon through the inside at the hairpin. He'll reclaim 9th. Here comes the race leader, AMS Storm, back behind them. As good as 8, 9, and 10 are, AMS Storm is on a tear, and back behind him, he'll have Mesosphere in tow. As we watch that pass there on the Virtual Autosports Instant Replay. Back across the line for the beginning of lap number 47 for 8, 9, and 10. Start of lap 48 for AMS Storm and Mesosphere. And this trio of cars out in front of Storm is definitely hindering Storm's ability to maintain pace. And Mesosphere likes where this is going right now. Of course, it can work against Mesosphere as well as AMS goes to the inside. Storm able to make the double pass there on Ghost and Modern. And now Mesosphere finds himself back behind. And oh, look at that. Mesosphere on the back bumper is born as Ghost, able to get around him. Now he just has to find his way past Modern Weapon. And for Slow Motion Fire, he's now got some space between he and 9th and 10th. With that, Modern Weapon sees Mesosphere getting around him. And so without any incident there, our race leaders able to get past two cars competing for their own position, and now they've got Slow Motion Fire up ahead of them, which just one car shouldn't be as much of a struggle. Crimson and Cratrium 3 and 4. Fear the Fun still all is lonesome there in 5th position. Funtang in 6th. Audrex in 7th. Slow Motion Fire is 8th. 9th is Modern Weapon. Born as Ghost is 10th, as we've seen that battle here for the last, I don't know, pretty much since the beginning of the race. 11th is Slipstream. Celtic Warrior in 12th. Kudos to Slipstream for sticking it out despite what seems to be just a dreadful run here tonight. Oh, and look at that. Modern Weapon right there on the back bumper of Born as Ghost. And even despite that contact, he runs wide. Brings it back out on the racing surface. Looking to the outside here up the hill. And then back down. They'll be side by side. When the commentator goes, every once in a while, I like to go ahead and just let the sound of the cars. You guys don't need me yammering in your ear all the time, right? And of course, I gotta take a swig of coffee every once in a while too. And there goes Born as Ghost, who finally gets a move up to 9th position, shaking that P10 off the top of his hood. We'll see if that one is able to stick through the remainder of this race. Let's return to Mesosphere. AMS Storm in between racing saying had to take a chance. We might not have caught it, or perhaps we did there back on the hairpin. he most certainly has taken some chances trying to use the lap traffic to his advantage. And again, slow motion fire before the race got kicked off tonight, giving drivers the expectations regarding lead lap cars who are quickly approaching. And for the most part, from our vantage point, everybody doing a great job at being mindful of those lead lap cars, but at the same time, not just jumping out of the way, throwing your arms up in the air and saying, hey, go past me, but doing so in a way that makes sense out on the track and is in line with real-world expectations. So kudos to all the drivers out here. All you got to do is race clean. That's the only expectation out here. You look at our map and you see drivers all askew. And so that really demonstrating the level of, or the diversity in terms of skill level out here on the track. So again, let's aim for it. Season 31, whether it be the first race, the second race, or all the way to the end, let's try to get a full lobby. That would be something immensely special, and I promise you, we'll give that race all the coverage it deserves from front to back, telling the stories all across the course, and then of course on the leaderboard from race to race. We've nearly been there before. I think back in the early days of broadcasting FM4, we had a couple of races that were dangerously close to being full. So I know we can do it. It's just a matter of you all convincing yourselves that you want to be out here. Get yourself revved up and ready for the next Forza title, and do so by coming out here and putting your skills to the test, and probably make a few friends along the way. Meza right there on the back bumper. Lap number 53 of 56. That 57th lap will be a cool down or a victory lap, depending on how you look at it. Froggy saying, if you only broadcast Dirt Rally 2.0 for Rallycross racing, yeah, it would probably be exciting. Rallycross seems like it would be a different animal in terms of commentating that. I mean, that's a different beast. I'm pretty committed to like the not just Xbox, but the Forza franchise. This is the crew, this is the community that I know best. And so for the most part, that's where you'll find me. Every once in a while I may jump outside of the Forza Motorsport realm, but it usually means going over to Forza Horizon and doing something else, which, by the way, I plan to continue the streams here through Tuesdays, despite the fact that we'll be in the off-season for Forza Spec Racing Series, perhaps doing a little bit of be a better Forzatographer. So for those of you who enjoyed the Forzatography streams, looking to be bringing that to you starting next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Lap number 54 now here. And Mesosphere, if he's going to make a move on AMS Storm to try to claim the first ever 9-race sweep, he's going to have to do it pretty darn soon. If it was Rallycross, the commentator would never get a break. Yeah, it's you got to have strategic pauses, I would imagine, for Rallycross, because it's all pretty exciting, but you're waiting for that moment of when you notice that the car, the driver, is going to post a quick time. You kind of speculate as you go along, and then as you get closer to the end of the stage, then at that point you're like, okay, it looks like we got a good time here. Are they going to be able to hit their marks? And here comes Mesosphere to the inside of Andrex, and oh, Mesosphere! And yes, Mesosphere is going to come off the throttle there. Came plowing into the corner, the left-hander, into the side of Storm, and Mesosphere doing the gentleman-like thing, saying, all right, Storm, go ahead. And unfortunately for Meza, that means being here on the backside of Audrex. Psycho Goose saying, dang it, I looked away. Well, you're in luck, Psycho Goose. Roll that beautiful bean footage, or maybe for Mesosphere, he'd rather not have it come back on instant replay, but there you go, the Virtual Autosports instant replay as they head into that final series of left-handers. Mesosphere, right into the side, the driver's door panel of Storm. Mesosphere now around Audrex's car, and let's see here in the next lap and a half if he's going to be able to make some magic happen. Crimson in third, Crater in fourth. Things have not changed there. Same can be said for fifth of Fear the Fun, Food-Tang in sixth. Audrex in seventh. Slow Motion Fire now has created some separation on 10th position, but he still has Born as Ghost right behind him in 9th. Unfortunately, that means for Modern Weapon, he's there in 10th. 11th is Slipstream, and 12th is Celtic Warrior. Here they come up to the start-finish line. The white flag flying. The start of lap number 56. Concluding things here in Season 30. Into turn number 1 they go. Right on board here with Mesosphere. We'll get a lap around the Yas Marina North Circuit. See if he's able to make any progress with AMS Storm here. Over the curbing. Keeping it pretty well within track limits there. I don't think there's any reason for the marshals to be concerned. And now here they come down the stretch. AMS Storm and Mesosphere for the final time tonight. AMS Storm kind of giving it a nice little wave. And now they'll go into the left-hander where things were oh so violent about 2 laps ago. And Meza right there on the back bumper of AMS Storm. And that's going to go ahead and give Storm the win here in race number 9. Coming out of nowhere. And preventing the streak or the sweep here. And so again, in the Forza Spec Racing Series, no driver has been able to win all 9 races. Here comes Crimson in third, Cratrium in fourth, Fear the Fun in fifth, Food-Tang in sixth, and our 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th drivers all the way back there to Celtic Warrior have gone ahead and just pulled off to the side of the road here at turn number 1, and that's how things will finish here tonight with AMS Storm getting ready to do the victory lap here at the Yas Marina North Circuit. Mesosphere coming 1 race shy of the sweep. DWM Frog there in the pit lane saying great race. Froggy, I just bought Forza Motorsport 7 because I haven't played Forza since Forza 6, so I might as well get in on one of the... That's great, Froggy. Glad to hear it, man, and we look forward to seeing you out there on the track for season number 31. Again, make sure you get over there to reddit.com/r/FM4, and as soon as Slow Motion Fire has posted all the details for Season 31, pay close attention to them. Make sure that your vehicle is set up accordingly. And, of course, once they get out there for one of the test and tune nights, they'll make sure that your specs are all good so that there's no issue there. And then also to take part in the vehicle guessing segment, we hear AMS Storm, I think, revving up the motor there on his Dodge Neon. Fear the Fun there in the Taco Bell car. Going to give him a courtesy congrats, and all the drivers here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, all 12 of them who started, will finish tonight's race. And here comes Storm. He's going to throw the tail end out a little bit, get a drift going. And while they're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and turn over here to the driver's spotlight to Mesosphere. I would say not meant to be, but man, yeah, AMS Storm just a terribly quick driver out here tonight, and so able to put the kibosh on the sweep.
Put the kibosh on it, but then to be fair, there's a reason he races in FRC.
That's right.
I'll be perfectly 100% honest, though, I had a lot of fun. There was a lot of banter, and I think my lap times dropped by nearly 7/10 of a second a lap chasing him around. So trust me, I wouldn't have been driving at that pace, and we certainly wouldn't have had a 20-second gap back to Crimson if it wasn't for Storm's just pace, just showing me the way. So yeah, that man is really quick, and that just shows the difference between what we've been doing all season and what the guys at FRC do, I suppose.
That's right, yeah, and that really just most certainly does demonstrate the skill level of the esports drivers that you'll find out there in the FRC and elsewhere. At any point during the race, because you didn't fall off too far from AMS's Storm's rear bumper, so you had to feel like you were still in it all the way up to the end. And of course, we saw what happened there on lap 55.
Yeah, lap 55, that was when I was passing Audrex, and as I moved out to go around him, I then couldn't see a brake marker, and I was a couple of feet late. I got into the side of Storm and immediately just got off the gas and waited. As I was coming down the pit straight afterwards, I also realised that I'd lost the front right brake in that incident, so that was it. That was race over for the win. But yeah, up until that point, I don't know. Early on, when you're there, lap after lap, doing within a tenth or two of each other, it's hard to feel like you're closing, but you're there thinking one mistake. Unfortunately, he's the next tier up driver, so he made less mistakes, you could say. I don't know quite what happened during the pits. I seemed to jump like 2 seconds up on him, and so I was right back on his tail because I dropped off the back before the pit stops. But coming out the pits, he was right there in front of me again, there to be attacked, and I didn't make any, well, up until lap 55, any mistakes. So it was a close race, even if there wasn't any, dicing for position like we've had in previous ones, with passes being thrown left and right. There wasn't any point on the track where my pace was better than his, enough to get that over speed, to get round him. And there wasn't any place on the track either where he would have done the same to me either. It was one of those things where, very evenly matched through most of the lap. And yeah, so that's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, no reason to rain on the parade here today. Mesosphere just solidifying that Season 30 championship here in the Forza Motorsport Spec Racing Series, Season number 30. AMS Storm here in the pit lane saying GG to Mesa. The pace in that last race was absolutely unreal, half a tenth faster than qualifying every single lap. Big GG to him for the championship, too. Going by that last race, it's richly deserved. And, yeah, we saw that all throughout the season. The likes of Crimson and Kratrim even struggling to keep pace for a lot of those races. So you got to feel pretty good about how things turned out here. And looking ahead to Season 31, any thoughts about whether or not you'll be out there on the track?
I should be back for next season. But I just like to point out that he actually corrected himself. That wasn't half a tenth every lap we were going faster than qualifying. It was half a second we were going every lap, both of us, faster than we qualified. Yeah. At least. Let's see, I think my fastest lap was a 17.4. I qualified with an 18.2. So that gives you an idea of what we were doing. And it wasn't even like, we're cutting corners and extending here. Now, if we were off the side of the track, that was us making a mistake and losing a tenth because we hit the inside curb too hard, and that's us going wide. The fastest line is just clipping that inside curb, and sometimes you hit it just a bit too hard when you're really, really pushing. No, we were keeping it really clean. We were keeping it pretty fair. And like I said, up until lap 55 for that contact there, I was never really in a position to go for a move. I'd get close. The closest was just a lap or so before. Lap 53, I think. I was, according to the time, just 4 tenths down. And I was there thinking that's going to be my time, but he broke so late and covered again towards the inside. So it's like, right, no, I'm going to have to try again. And then, of course, I made a mistake later on the next lap, so I never got another chance. But yeah, no, it was really good. And I'm looking forward to 31 because I know what the car is.
You know what the car is, and as we've been soliciting more drivers to come participate in Season 31, it looks like we may have at least a couple of new faces out there, so that should be pretty exciting. Crimson saying, good season, guys. Slow Motion Fire, that was a good one. Fun car choice there. Telling C-Tom or Cratrium, who won Season 29 and picked these ACR Neons. All said and done, what are your thoughts on the Neon now that you've completed 9 races, winning 8 of those?
I'm selling the car.
He's selling. It's done. Never to be touched again, huh?
Nope. It's not happening. No. Yeah. No. Much as I thought in the first race, I don't like it. It likes me. It suits my driving style, but I'm selling the car.
Sell the car. All right.
I don't enjoy driving it. I enjoyed the racing,
Uh-huh.
but then you can enjoy racing in cars that you're not particularly keen on. But something about the handling on this suited me better than a lot of the other FM4s. So, yeah, the car liked me. Unfortunately, I could not reciprocate because, I don't know, it's hard to enjoy. Every time you touch the throttle, it just goes straight. It doesn't drive off a corner. It doesn't do anything. No, it just goes straight. And that's what it does. So if you touch that right pedal, you better have already completed the turn because it's not doing anything else. So yeah, no, it suits me. It likes me. I unfortunately, yeah, still not particularly keen. So I'll be selling it.
That's weird how that happens. The car likes you. You do extraordinarily well with it, and then yet you still feel obligated to get rid of it and out of the garage. Chatting with Mesosphere here. Last question for you tonight is that you've given us a hint, at least you did last week, saying that the car that you've selected has a little bit of a racing pedigree or heritage behind it. Any other little hints that you may be willing to throw out there to go along with the spy photos that Slow Motion Fire will inevitably be releasing here in the next week or two?
Absolutely none. No.
None. Okay.
Nope. I refuse to. I gave enough of. I almost got told off last week for giving the. No.
It's like you've signed an NDA or something. This is very serious stuff.
No.
We don't want to mess with the
Forza
Spec racing formula.
If you guess the car, you pick a track.
Yep.
Yeah. You earn your tracks.
Very cool. All right, Mezzo. Well, thank you so much for joining us in the driver's spotlight. I think you've done so every single week this season, and even maybe twice in a couple of these evenings. So I appreciate that. And then, of course, congratulations to you in your victory here in Season 30 and in selecting the car. We look forward to that. We look forward to seeing you out there on the track for Season 31 and what new names may appear out there to make things even that much more interesting. Enjoy the off season, and we look forward to seeing you out there again soon.
Thank you for having me, and thank you again for some wonderful broadcasts this season. I've been looking back on the VODs; they've been fantastic. So thank you very much for all your good work.
I greatly appreciate that, and from somebody who does a little bit of broadcasting himself, make sure you guys go not only visit but to also follow twitch.tv/Mesosphere. That's MESASPHERE. Mesosphere here live on Twitch throughout the week. He does some Forza stuff. He does some non-Forza stuff. So really a variety, and always looking to throw a shout out and support the fellow Forza community here on Twitch TV, and even those folks over on Mixer. Looking here into the driver's spotlight, it looks like we've got one other, and hopefully maybe we'll hear from some of our other drivers, not only here tonight, but as we look forward into Season 31, but the organizer of the Forza Spec Racing Series, Slow Motion Fire. Another exciting end. Maybe not here so much tonight as it was last week or even the week before, but nonetheless, a fantastic season, and the preview that Mez has given us there for 31, although not much of a preview, it's certainly got to be promising.
Yeah, the pictures will go up tonight, and we'll see what people think the car is as the guesses roll in.
Yeah, so, and again, I don't know how else to articulate this for people who may be listening and you're interested in participating and you want to guess the car, but really, you take some obscure shots of these cars and post them up with hopes that maybe a few people will be able to pick, and then they get the track. What was the inspiration there? Obviously, not having any prizes. You got to find a way to make it interesting for people to participate beyond the racing aspect. But what's the motive there to get people interested in guessing the car?
Well, some of it was just Modern and myself for a long time had been just picking all the tracks based on recommendations. So we figured this was a good way to let people kind of win something. And then it's also a way to kind of kill some time in the off week here. So drivers have an entire week to try and guess at the car, and it's a first come first serve basis. So there's only 9 tracks in the season, so you got 9 chances.
Yeah, you got a couple of you got 9 chances to try to get that car picked out, and of course, if people fail to do that, then I'm guessing maybe you'll just throw in the tracks from that point forward. But yeah, get on over there to reddit.com/r/FM4. Again, I'll have Nightbot post that there in the pit lane. Follow that link and get out here in season number 31. Slow Motion Fire, I've done it a couple times throughout the broadcast tonight. What's your call for people who may be watching, thinking that the season, the series looks interesting? How do we get ourselves to a full grid? What words do you have to share with those folks who are thinking about joining?
Just that we're open to everybody. If you're a clean racer, just looking for something, we kind of treat this as a beer league. So we're just here to have fun. And if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, feel free to join us.
There you go. I don't know how else to motivate people to do this. That's your call, folks. The slate will be wiped clean after tonight, and once you start guessing the car of choice for season 31, then boom, you're right into the thick of it. And it is a 1-week drop week throughout 5 weeks of racing, and so plenty of chances, even if you have to miss a week, to be vying for the championship. So much fire. We heard Mez's take on the Dodge Neon. What did you think of the car through the 9 races here this season?
I absolutely hated it at the beginning. Like every time we jump to front wheel drive, it's learning how to drive all over again. And now by the time we got to week 5, I finally got a tune I liked. I liked the car at the track, and I felt like I was the most competitive I'd been all season. And now it's time to switch cars again. So
yeah, it just so as it happens here in FM4, you get used to a car, and what you might have hated before, you've kind of grown to love, and then boom, you throw it away and you go to the next one. I don't know. It seems like Mez is not willing to give away too many hints at what the next car is, but it seems like maybe we can expect a jump in performance, if I'm daring enough to say. So maybe people can expect a little bit more horsepower under the hood.
I can't really comment there because normally we don't set a build until after the car's been picked. So now we'll have a week to guess the car pictures, and I'll kind of be working on the build in the background to come up with something, and that won't be released until closer to race day. So it might be less.
And we're waiting here. Maybe the connection will come back a little bit of in and out there by.
Might be more. We'll just have to see.
Sorry, Slow. I don't mean to be laughing. You're coming through choppy here on my end, so it sounds a little funny. But I think we got the gist of it there, and no pressure to say anything that may not be true for season 31. But it seems like maybe from time to time you guys take a look at the structure, the format of the season, and maybe make some adjustments. Anything planned there, or at least any thoughts there of how things might look a little bit different next season?
Yeah, like everything, it's always evolving. So Modern and I have been doing some testing, and we've been asking some drivers, and we're toying with the idea of doing something a little different with the start, whether that's a delayed start or a rolling start. We look to mess around with that in the gap week and kind of get some people's ideas. And then also, we're constantly looking for a way to implement some of the FRR stuff without actually implementing it, because I would like nothing more than to be able to remove the tire walls from a lot of these racetracks. Yeah. And we're messing with settings, and we're trying to get a balance there. So we might have something like that going into the next season.
Okay, well, that's something to look forward to. And like you had mentioned there, Slow, for folks who are interested in joining the FM4 Racing League, perhaps you get in on those gap races, the off-season action, and you guys, when you do that, you can have some input and some thought in terms of how this thing is structured and really kind of make it a league that everybody helps grow and evolve and make it the best that it can possibly be. Slow Motion Fire, it's been my pleasure to broadcast things throughout Season 30. Looking forward to Season 31. Any thoughts on when that might get kicked off as we head toward the end of the year here?
Well, we'll probably have a week of nothing, and then we'll have the gap week fun races, and then test and tune night, and then we'll start the actual season. So for points racing, we're probably about 4 weeks out from the next series.
Awesome. Love it. Well, I'd love to keep chatting, but it looks like we've got 3 other drivers who have jumped into the driver spotlight. So, again, thank you so much for having me, and I look forward eagerly to what 31 has. And it looks like maybe we're losing Slow Motion Fire there a little bit. Let me go ahead and bring... Well, he's known as the Croatian Flick, not the Scandinavian Flick, but the Croatian Flick. Fear the Fun, finishing 5th, if I do recall correctly, having quite the season here. And, of course, we'll see how things sort themselves out on the leaderboard once Slow Motion Fire is able to go and set all that up and do everybody's drop week. But not a bad run for you there at Yas Marina.
No, not at all. I'm pleasantly surprised since I hate the track.
You're not a big fan of the track. Is it because of, I don't know. What is it? What is it about Yas Marina you're not particularly fond of?
It's too flat.
Yeah.
And a lot of the corners they don't make sense to me in a racing track. It's the same thing with Coda, and they're designed by the same person.
Mm-hmm. So that, okay. Well, that's fair to say. If there was one race out here, and I pointed out that not in season 3, but week 3 there at Laguna Seca and VIR, you had some pretty outstanding finishes. What would you say was your best race here in season 30?
I don't want to talk about that.
You had some great runs, though.
Yeah, but it was Daytona, and I got really, really salty. When 3 laps to go, I got spun in the oval and I left. I was really, really mad.
Uh-huh.
I know it wasn't on purpose, but in my heart of hearts, I couldn't just let myself know it wasn't. That it was okay. That it's just a video game.
Yeah.
So
I'm surprised you're not calling one out. Yes, you had a great race out at the sport car circuit of Daytona before things went awry. But I mean, your VIR finish there in the top 3. I think you were a 3rd place finish at that one. That's one that sticks out to me. But all in all, I think you put together a pretty good run. It'll show on the leaderboard. Maybe even boost your position on the leaderboard heading into season 31. Well, not heading into season 1, but season 31. But in season
the championship.
I'm sorry.
The championship.
Well, I mean, once you get into season 31, everybody starts fresh. So maybe make a run for top 3 overall on the leaderboard. You got Crimson, Cratrium up there, so some pretty heavy hitters. But
I'm not as fast as Crimson and Cratrium. Though I've had a little bit of pace with CT the past few weeks, but I think it's just the car. I'm okay with anything in the top 5.
Gotcha.
Specifically in front of Foontang and Slipstream.
Okay. All righty. Well, Fear the Fun. It's always a blast talking to you, man. I appreciate you also jumping in here to the driver's spotlight, and we look forward to seeing you there in season 31.
I look forward to seeing you in season 31.
Awesome.
And may I say, you're looking for a treat when you have an interview with Foontang.
Oh, okay. Well, I see Foontang hanging out there. So let's go straight to the Foon. And let's see here. Foontang, Fear the Fun is warning me that I've got a treat here coming my way. Go ahead, hit me.
That's fine. Well, go on, bro. That was a sick race, isn't it? I mean, it's a bit lonely for me, but that's just the way it is, isn't it? I mean, it was a bit of a weird send-off to the season because, you know what I mean? As I say, I was a bit lonely. But yeah, the racing was fire, bro. I mean, I was watching, you know what I mean? And yeah, it was sick. Yeah, I mean, but then again, the racing's been like absolutely foul season. So, you know what I mean?
Futang never fails to disappoint on the track and here on the in the driver's spotlight. It's been a long time no talk. Futang, as I mentioned, that you never fail to disappoint. We often find you breaking through the field, making your way up through after maybe some poor qualifying. Then boom, you're like a hard charger back up through the grid. Were you able to get any sort of consistency, though, here in the Dodge Neon? It seemed like maybe this car wasn't, as it seemed with a lot of our drivers here, wasn't suited for you.
Yeah, man, like kind of really struggled with this one. Especially this race, the car just wasn't responding to me. It just wouldn't turn in when I wanted it to. I think the problem was that I just didn't have enough front camera, enough tow, or nothing like that. Because it was just plowing straight ahead, especially turn one and turn three. Like I was trying to follow the boy like Fear through there, and it was just gone. Like lap after lap, he was just disappearing into the distance. Quite frustrating, but I know that he put in a lot of practice. So big up to Fear. You know what I mean? He deserved that.
He deserved it indeed. And Futang, let me get your thoughts here. We see AMS Storm joining in on the 9th race of the season, taking away the sweep from Mesosphere, able to rip it out here at Yas Marina and keep the undefeated streak or the sweep here in the Forza Spec Racing Series unclaimed by any one driver. What are your thoughts?
I thought Mesa was going to get close this year, but then, boy, that family dude, or AMS Storm as it's now called, just kind of came out of nowhere and kind of snatched it from Mesa. But Mesa's had an ace season, you know what I mean? He's driven his socks off, and, you know what I mean? Big love to Mesa. He's a big part of the Forza community, and it's always good to see him, coming racing at FM4.
I couldn't possibly have guessed that, but thanks for bringing it to my attention. AMS Storm is Family Dude. Okay. Awesome. We know Family Dude. Family Dude's been in
he's a
here
good
on
boy.
the Virtual Auto Sports broadcast before.
Yeah, he's a top man. Yeah, I've got big love to him. He's doing some good work in Forza RC. So long may it.
AMS Storm saying I couldn't possibly follow this interview up. It's a good one indeed, and it looks like maybe we lost Celtic Warrior who was in there. Celtic Warrior, I'll get right to you here after one more question with Futang. Futang, season 30. I mean, you've been a staple. You're like a mainstay of the Forza Spec Racing
now,
Series.
Bro, you know what I mean? They can't get rid of me.
They can't boot you out, huh?
Nah, they can't kick me to the curb, bro. I'm here to.
You're grandfathered in. You no matter how you couldn't do any wrong here in the FM4.
Well, I don't know about that, but
very good. Futang, good hearing from you again, man, and look forward to seeing you out there on the track for season 31.
Thank you very much for all the work you do for FM4. You're an absolute superstar, and it's absolutely amazing to have you back on board, and it's just marvelous to see your coverage.
My pleasure, man, and I look forward, of course, for those of you who are just now joining us. If you didn't see the race in its entirety, we'll roll it back here on the rerun, and some of the drivers hop in there and provide their commentary. Futang, hope to hear from you a little bit more there in season 31. Yes, brethren,
much love, yeah?
I'm sorry?
Yes, brethren, much love.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care. Have a great rest of your morning, because across the pond there, wee hours of a Wednesday for Futang. Celtic, my apologies. I was unable to get to you pretty quickly there. We go a little bit longer on the interviews here at the end of the season, as you might guess, getting drivers their thoughts on the entirety of what has happened here in season 30, and then of course, kind of a sneak peek at season 31. AMS Storm, or Family Dude, as I'm now learning. Big love to you, Foon. Oh no. At least I now don't need to paint a broom, says Mesosphere. Oh, that's so sad. To think that we're going to have a Mesosphere car out there on the track for season 31 that does not have a broom painted on the side of it. That would have been something special. Maybe you can paint like half a broom. Let's go with that. Half a broom. Jaegers 2005, Mania, Vanquish, Pickles, Ben McKenna, Celtic Warrior from a week ago, Carry Out from a week ago. Thank you all so much for that follow. Anybody who was here for the broadcast, if you enjoyed your time, please click that follow button. Lets me know that you enjoyed your time here. I know I kind of lost my my ability to articulate here toward the end of the broadcast. I think that's because of the weird getting home late from work and then having to jump back into the broadcast booth here tonight. But nonetheless, had a spectacular time. Season 31, or season 30 will go down as easily my favorite at this point. I'm sure that'll be topped in season 31. And again, my request to you all, if you are watching and you thought that this would look fun and you have Forza Motorsport 7 either for the Xbox One or the PC, head on over there to reddit.com/r/FM4. Be a part of the action here. Don't just watch it. Be a part of it. And of course, for those of you who do wish to just spectate, hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, all that great stuff, that we have a full grid for the beginning of season 31. That's always very, very special. And of course, going into the end of the year, it's always a fun time. Maybe we'll switch things up a little bit, make it look a little bit more holiday-ish on the broadcast. You'll just have to wait and see. And again, I'll be back at it a week from tonight. Next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, we'll do a little bit of Be a Better Photographer. So if you're down for that, come join us. We'd love to chat with you and get your thoughts on how to take some beautiful, realistic-like photography in the world of Forza Motorsport. Or perhaps we'll hop on over to the Forza Horizon title, whichever one, whatever I'm feeling. DWM Frog saying, great race and interviews tonight. I agree. You guys, the FM4 crew is just, you guys are on point. On point. Have a great rest of the week, folks. Again, we're here in the first full week of November, heading toward those holidays, the end of the year. A lot to be thankful for in 2019, and a lot that we wish certainly to be better in the new year. But enjoy the time that you have here and now. And if you get any Forza racing action in, or any racing whatsoever, both in the real world and in the virtual world, keep it fun, keep it safe, keep it clean. Until next time, I'm Dustin Moore. Y'all take care. Have a great rest of the day, evening, or morning. Adios.